Going live.
There you go. It's on.
There we go. Here we go. It is Mr. Campbell. It is Johnnie Cole. It is HBCU Coaches Corner. It is SWAC Championship Week. We don't have no intro musical. You know, we're getting straight to business. We have a coach who actually knows what this week is all about, Coach Johnnie Cole. Coach, tell me, what do you think about SWAC Championship Week, and what do you remember most about SWAC Championship Week going into this week?
Man, you know, firstly, man, it's like a hump off your back as a coach and as a career coach to get to that moment. You know, a lot of coaches go through this business and never win a championship, you know, or never even play in one. And just to be able to say, oh, man, we got that monkey off my back, great for your resume. I won the East or I won the West. You know, we're going to go into this title game and, you know, you got to reprogram your kids of saying, hey, this is the second season. This is what we played for. Man, but it's just a great feeling. Everybody is patting you on the back. Players are, you know, cakes are coming through the office, and, you know, you go out in the city and get free meals and plates. Man, it's just a great feeling. And I know that T.C. Taylor and Tremaine Jackson, who's been here before, man, they feeling good and great about their year.
Well, Coach, you know, one of the things what's so great about this, to get to the SWAC championship, you probably need to have a good coach. What do you think about that, Coach? Am I right about that? You probably need to have a good coach.
Man,
and the one thing about coach, sometimes when you're a good coach, you get certain recognitions and things like that, like conference coach of the year. You know, that kind of goes hand in hand. You know, T.C. Taylor, you know, when he won it, he coach of the year. Willie Simmons, when he won it, he was coach of the year. Deion Sanders, he was coach of the year. But, Coach, I'm going to tell you something. There's a guy that came on this show early on that was singing some songs. And I'm going to say, Atlanta, Coach. You know what? He one step of the way, but, Coach, I'll tell you what, he came on HBCU Coaches Corner. So you know what I think we should do, Coach, just to let people know that we're a little bit different? I think we might need to call it. I think we know Tremaine Jackson, Coach. Don't you think we know him?
Man, hey, just a little bit, man. I spanked him and changed the diaper a little bit.
Let me just see if we can bring somebody up on the stage. What? Wait a minute. What, Coach? Is this the SWAC Coach of the Year from Prairie View?
This is
no recess himself, Tremaine Jackson.
SWAC Coach of the Year, man. And that's just to tell you how he feel about our show, man. He broke off from, you know, he got a big recruiting visit, his signing day, they're getting paperwork together. But this tells you what type of coach he is. He's always, anytime he get opportunity to sell his program, man, he sells the program, and that makes him separate himself from a lot of other coaches. Welcome, Coach. I want to personally thank you. And also I want to say congratulations, man. You know, Coach of the Year. Again, I seen this 15 years ago. All you're doing is living your passion. You know, and it makes me feel with cheeks, you know, that at least I had a little touch.
Yeah. No
little touch of that success. Congratulations, Coach. SWAC 2025. Coach of the Year, Coach.
I appreciate it, Coach.
Tell us how, Dan, Coach. I mean, you got to be feeling good, Coach.
Coach, I'll tell you this, and you're gonna remember this moment when I talk about it. You know, they didn't announce the SWAC Coach of the Year in 2010 until we were at the hotel about to leave. It was a Friday, right? It was before the game, and you didn't find out until we were at the team dinner. And man, I remember looking at your face. And all the work, all the recruiting, we still had the game to play, but I always wondered what that felt like. And I'll never forget what you said. You really talked about our staff. Yeah. And the Kevin Ramseys and the Daryl Cobas of the world that really helped get us to that point. And I got no choice but to do the same thing. Yeah. And I haven't gotten a lot of things right in my career, but I think I've hired well. And the people that we have on our staff, the administration, my AD that I got with back in January, man, AD Golf. I think that, and the players, can't say enough about our players. The accolades that I got is all for them. It's all because of them. And so it's humbling, but man, we still got so much work to do. those guys congratulated me in the team meeting today. We had 7 all-conference guys on our team. When we got here, we only had 1 guy, and it was a kicker. We had nobody on offense and defense. And so to see, we had the freshman of the year as well, to see this team get some accolades after nobody thought. I think we were picked 7th in the league and 3rd in the West. And all these things were supposed to happen to us because we had 70-plus new guys. And to see this team right now competing and practicing and getting ready for a championship against a really good opponent, it's all kind of humbling and overwhelming. We look forward to just get out on that grass. But I had to share with you that moment because that's what I thought about when I found out the news.
Man, of course, I've won Coach of the Year in 2 different conferences. And, you realize when you sit there that you didn't do it by yourself. No. Great coaches and great players and guys like you that worked up under me have went on to be head coaches, man. And, you know how I feel now. You've been coaching long enough when that kid called you at night and coach, what you doing, man? I just want to thank you. Yep. And that's why this game is coached by special people, man. Mm-hmm. By special people. It ain't necessarily always about the money. It's about the opportunity to change people's life. So, I ain't gonna hold you, Coach, man, unless you got something, Campbell.
The only thing that I want to say is when we first talked to Coach, and I asked Coach about that roster and who did he like, he said, Campbell, don't worry about it. You're gonna find out at the end of the year. So you know what, Coach? I found out. I found out those names at the end of the year. Who you like, Coach? So I just want to say how much that you mean to this conference, because this conference was built on great coaches. We know the names. There's no need me repeating. I don't want to do that. But this conference is built off of great coaches, because the only way we have a great game like this going to be on second, I know this is going to be a great game, is because we have 2 great coaches on both sidelines. We've got a team, like I say, Jackson State, and then we got a SWAC originator, Prairie View A&M, that founded the conference. That's good for the conference from a historical standpoint. So, Coach, again, I'm proud of you. Of course, I'll be rooting for you. I'll be rooting for Jackson State too. So it doesn't matter for me. I just want to see my great coaches coach a great game, and how it plays out, that's all that counts. But, Coach, I'm going to tell you something. We really appreciate you taking the time coming on HBCU Coaches Corner. And, Coach, but I tell you one thing, though, what you got to do, however it happens, if I do see you in Atlanta and you do something that will be historic, I'll just leave it at that. You got to come back on here and sing the whole song, Coach. Okay?
I look forward to that. Right. I'll say this too, real quick, man. I think when you look at this weekend, not to talk about the game, but the people involved in the game, man. Coach Taylor, what he did last year was nothing short of amazing, right? And won Coach of the Year and all the awards and the national championship. And then you come back and we were able to achieve this. Man, both of us played in the SWAC. Both of us coached in the SWAC. Prior to, man, Coach Taylor, I think he might have took my old office as I was leaving TSU when he was coming. And so I think when people talk about what is SWAC and what ain't SWAC, I think the SWAC got it right this week. And my hat goes off to Coach Robinson too, man, because what he did at Alabama State, winning 10 games, was amazing. We got a chance to see them firsthand. Man, that was a well-coached, well-oiled machine. Those guys played really together. And, we came out on the short end of the stick, but to me, he's the Coach of the Year for what he was able to put together. And so I think it's a great time for our conference, a great time for us as Black people, man, to be quite honest. And it should be rocking in Jackson. So whoever out there listening, if you can get to Jackson, get there to rain. It ain't going to rain Saturday. It's going to rain Friday.
There you go.
So we should be ready to go, man. But I appreciate y'all having me as always. And I promise, if we get to that point, I'll sing the song twice.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate that. We appreciate to take the time. And like I say, we congratulate you once again. And I will say this, for all those people, those naysayers, he tried to tell you what he was going to do.
Toast to my man
Jackson.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all
he was head coach. Coach of the Year. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate you joining us on HBCU Coaches Corner.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, Coach, the name of the show is what?
The HBCU Coaches Corner.
The HBCU Coaches Corner. Now, Coach, let me tell you something. The one thing about coaches, you got to have players that you got to coach to get to big games like this, right?
Yes, sir.
You got to have players that are transcendent. You got to have players that, Coach, you know what, that actually might win a Player of the Year award. Those are the type of guys that, you know, when you look back, you know, when Willie won it, you know, he had Musa. Musa was Offensive Player of the Year. You know what I mean? When Dion won it, he had Shador. You know what I mean? Player of the Year, things like that. Right. But, Coach, I'm going to tell you something. There's a guy that was special to me in my heart because he came to this conference as a freshman. See, that's what I'm used to, Coach. You know, none of the transfer, you know, kids coming from Power Fives and all that. But I'm talking about my guys that come as a freshman. And, Coach, I'm going to tell you something. There's a guy that I think we both know that's over there at Alabama State. You know, friend of the show, Eddie Robinson, coach this young man. But I tell you what, Coach, I'm going to make another phone call because this is HBCU Coaches Corner. And I'm just going to see if my nephew is available to come hang out with us. Coach, wait a minute. Coach, look who we got here.
Hey, as Scotty would say, Andrew Buddy.
What's going on?
Andrew Buddy from Alabama State University, SWAC Player of the Year. And Coach, you know what? Let me get this straight. Spring Initiative of 2024 Cap Outside. That right?
Spring 25, yes, sir.
Spring 25. There you go. So, Coach, you got your frat brother here. Look at that. The boy coming up to y'all. We see him. Boy, done went viral with the shimmy. We see you all over the place, nephew. We see you. Andrew, listen, man, I'm going to tell you something. I taught you. I met you. Followed your career. We are so proud of you, everything you've done. I think the biggest thing, your name is Andrew, but the one thing that I would like to say, your also name needs to be overcoming adversity because of what you had to go through to be the SWAC Player of the Year, man. We are proud of you, and it's just amazing to have you on. I know it's a lot of things going on in your life, but we appreciate you coming on HBCU Coaches Corner because we know you've been there before. But I tell you what, nephew, and like I said, I call him nephew because I'm very affectionate of this young man. Tell us about when you found out that you were SWAC Player of the Year, and tell us about overall how you felt about the season, how the season went.
Man, first, just thank y'all for allowing me to be on this show with y'all, and I got to give my glory to God because, man, without him, I wouldn't be here and be in the position I'm in. But so it's really kind of funny because the day before, y'all know the first team and stuff had came out. So I'm seeing all that. I'm posting my guys. We talking about it. And so I had a brief conversation with Coach Robinson, and we was like, you know, because I think you have to play a certain amount of games to be eligible, like to be in the SWAC first teams and things of that sort. So we was like, man, we just trying to make sure I could even get the award. So I'm in the training room and I'm getting some texts and stuff, but I'm working out real quick. I'm getting some texts talking about some congrats. And I'm like, man, they like a day late, you know? So then one of my other teammates, he walked in, he was like, all right, Player of the Year. I'm like, when that come out? It was like, it just came out today, like 5 minutes ago. I'm like, I couldn't say nothing, but that's God. Like, it ain't me. He just using me.
Right. Well, you know, man, you done an extremely great job. I know you set out the last 4 games, and I know that had to be a little worrisome. Like, hey, man, you know, but you put on an extremely show. I've seen some great ones. I've seen Doug Williams, Jefferson, Street Joe. I've seen Steve McNair coached against him, coached against Willie Totten, some of the greats in this league, man. And I put your performance right with them. You know, your performance sold tickets, man. And you know, the thing about you is that I seen improvement from you from a freshman to now. You know, at some time when you was freshman, you couldn't hit the beach with a beach ball. But your hard work and knowing who you are and what you are and your family background, big body, man, you put the work in, man. I seen you last spring, and I told these guys, I said, man, this cat is on another level. You're on another level. And that's from all the hard work you do. And most definitely, man, you've earned that most valuable player of this conference, man. And that's saying a lot because there's some great ones come through here. Some
Most
great,
definitely.
you know what I mean? and you take that, and I know your future is bright. Keep doing what you're doing. The man got, I always ask him how's them grades. He's got about 4 A's and
Oh,
a couple
come on,
of
man.
B's, man. So he's not only just doing it on the football field, he's doing it off the football field,
Yes,
and
sir.
he's the epitome of a leader of this conference, and he's doing what he's supposed to do. And thank you for that. Thank you for that magnificent show, man. I mean, what, 3 and 4 and 5 touchdowns in one game, and your completion rate at 70%, Bishop. 70%. That's unusual numbers at 70%.
Had to raise the standard, Mr. Cole. Had to.
Now, Andrew, I want to talk about your season and overall your team success because, as you said, in the back half of the season, but this is one of the most historic seasons for Alabama State. Winning 10 games, going 10-2, really, playing every game tough. How overall your success was also part of team success?
Oh, it wouldn't be nothing without the team just because first starting off with my O-line, had a great O-line up front. We had from left to right, we had Big Cam Smith. We had Desmond Penn. We had Jeremiah Frazier. And then we also had Elijah Baker. He stepped in a lot at our tackle. He was a previously walk-on. And then we really had a couple guys rotating at that guard. We had Tatum, we had Michael Moore. So it was, man, I couldn't do nothing without them guys up front. Then had a great running back room, great receiver room. So it was a lot of guys around me that most definitely played a big factor in this. And then our defense, I mean, shoot, we got a well-coached ball team over there, and we got some playmakers over there that got us some key plays when we really needed it. So I would say I wouldn't get none of my individual success without the team because y'all know how it goes, and that it really plays a factor, especially like on the first teams and stuff like that. So we had 11 overall first and second teams. So I believe it was like a record-breaking number. So that speaks for itself right there.
Yeah. Those numbers, what y'all average 40 points a game?
Yes, sir. It might be 42.
Oh, yeah. Like, Coach, wait a minute now. That offense averaged 42.4 points a game that led the SWAC.
Yeah.
And one of the highest scoring averages of all time in the SWAC.
And look here, and add Division I teams, too. They put 40 on them Division I teams, too. So, man, that was a great outcome, man. I mean, again, you've done something nobody or no one has done, So I commend you on that. You are the SWAC Player of the Year, man. And I toast to that.
Now,
I appreciate it.
Andrew, I want to say one thing before we let you get out of here.
Yes, sir.
One of the things I'm most proud of in this conference, and I've been around a long time, Coach Cole been around, is about big games. And I think you and the Alabama State team and the Jackson State team giving us a game of the year that matched up to because in SWAC, we've had some game of the years. Now, I'm just trying to tell you, in that stadium, Jerry Rice and Willie Totten and those guys played that stadium in front of 63,000. And to see that game and the coaches coach and big play. Yeah, listen, Jacoby Morgan, remember, all making big plays after big play. How did it feel to play in a game like that where you knew that, first of all, y'all the road team, you got 45,000 on your neck, but you keep making play after play? How did it feel to play in a type of game like that in the SWAC?
It was amazing football atmosphere. Anybody that loves the game, they would have been like, this the type of game that I want to go to. But I wouldn't say I would put any more importance than just the game before. I mean, obviously, that was probably the biggest game of the year just based off of everything that was on the line. Great team that we were playing on the opposite side in Jackson State. Coach Taylor and them, they had athletes just as well as we did. So it was going to come down to, like y'all seen, the final wire, literally the final second. But, man, it was amazing to be out there. Fans had that thing rocking. Best believe they was a rocking with Bama State over there. But we had our section going on, too. So it was an awesome football atmosphere. Anybody that's coming into the conference and knows about the conference, that most definitely was one of those higher games.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, Andrew, I'm going to ask you the last question, and we'll get you out of here because I think a lot of people, I'm not going to ask the question that you think I'm going to ask. A A lot of people just want to know how is your health? How are you feeling? Are you going to be ready to go for next year? I know they kind of was being very careful to just make sure your future, no matter what, is that. So how are you feeling? Is everything going to be good? You're going to be able to start fresh next year?
Yes, sir. Most definitely, man. I'm getting better every day and just really gaining and maintaining. Gonna just keep pressing forward. Most definitely gonna be ready for the 2026 football season. Man, it's gonna be real. It's something to really look forward to. It's gonna be a fun one, and y'all can most definitely expect me to be out there 100%. Really, probably shoot in the next couple weeks.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm expecting you to be the back-to-back SWAC Conference Player of the Year. How about that? And then when you do that, you come back on here with us on HBCU Coaches Corner. How about that?
Okay. Well,
We could do that.
I got a couple because we got some other special guests. Andrew Body, you played against both of these football teams.
Yes, sir.
You give us what you think about Jackson State, and then we'll let you see what you think about Prairie View. What's your take? This is championship night.
Right,
Okay.
right.
This is analysis body.
So I'll most definitely say from the Jackson State side, they got some guys up front that boxes they got some playmakers in the box, some guys that's gonna try to cause some havoc. And then the secondary, I'm not gonna say they kind of dependent on the front seven, but they play off each other. So it's gonna be, I really think it's gonna not necessarily be more of a defensive game, but I think it's gonna be more of a defensive game because I'm not sure if y'all kind of kept up with Prairie View. But they also, I believe, they're allowing the least amount of points and yards per game. So it's gonna be real interesting to see how this game plays out. PV, they got some pretty good DBs back there that can play. Box is solid. So I'm thinking it's gonna be a defensive game. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But then I can't shortchange the offense either though. So it's gonna be real. I'm expecting a great game. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I'm just preparing you so when your football career over, whenever that is, I know you'll be ready to come in and coach it. You got to love this game, man, the way you play.
Yes, sir. Oh, this a given. This the easy part.
So Andrew, that was the question in the chat. Okay, a couple things. What is your major? Just to, for letting people know, what is your major?
So I'm majoring in my concentration is business, and then I got a minor in sociology.
Okay. So like I say, not only when you might coach it, you might just go ahead and own the team. Then that's what it is.
Oh, that's eventually for sure. For sure, I'm gonna have a team somewhere.
Okay. Well, Coach, listen. Do you have anything for our SWAC Player of the Year? Because, like I say, I'm good. I'm just proud of the young man. He's already gave us analysis and things like that. We know, like I say, he's still got a big week ahead of him. Andrew, let me ask you a question. Do you? Again, I don't know. Does the player? Do you guys have to come to the Celebration Bowl? Do they honor you guys at the game? I know sometimes I see that, or does it work like that?
I don't believe so. Okay. I know for like other awards, kind of like the other award they had me up for was the Walter Payton. I think they do something for that, but I don't believe they do it for just like the SWAC First Team and Player of the Year. No, sir. I think they just send that through the mail.
Okay. Well, you know what? We just listen because the commissioner watches us. That's my homework. Listen, man, commissioner, we got to do this thing big. We got to have the offensive, defensive players of the year. I think that would be a good look. And coach, you know what? Then what they could do, they could bring all the offensive, defensive players of the year back. You know what I mean? Maybe have a ceremony. I think that'll be really good, coach. What you think about that?
Man, I think it's always great, man. I'm a historian. You are too, coach. That's why we're doing this show, man. If you don't remember the past, man, you don't know the future. And a lot of times when we come on and somebody says, "Oh, they done that for the first time," what me and you say, "Man, that's been done." I know Willie Todd threw 8 touchdowns in one game. Don't nobody know that unless you was there and going through them days and them times. So I think that would be great to bring some of the old players back, and kind of keep that bond going. And, and we'll have another conversation about, hearing the SWAC commissioner saying that, our numbers and how good the conference done this year.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, listen, we want to thank you once again. We appreciate you taking the time because we know people come on HBCU Coaches Corner because they always want to make news. And you did make news because you already let them know you're going to come back to try to be SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. So we'll leave it, and we'll leave it with that. You know what I'm saying? That's the answer we're going to give everybody. That sound pretty good?
Yes, sir.
All right, Andrew.
And you know I got
to
shout out to your dad and your mother.
Absolutely.
I would shout out the bodies,
give
man.
A shout out to your dad and your mother, man. Yeah, to the bodies.
That's my rocks
man.
right there. They didn't. Right.
Yeah. To your
shout out cousin.
Your uncle.
Shout out to the whole bodies, man. They always take care and look out. That couldn't do it without them. Couldn't be here without them for real.
Good deal.
That's it.
Andrew, thank you once again. Right. We appreciate you joining us always on the HBCU Coaches Corner.
Thank y'all. Y'all be blessed.
Absolutely. Andrew Body, my nephew. Coach, let me tell you something what's so great about this, and before we move on. The great thing about this conference is the players, men and women that have played in this conference, that have always represented their schools at a very high level. And the thing about it, you think about his coach, Eddie Robinson, who was the defensive player of the year, but was also an academic All-American and went on to a illustrious pro career, not coming back. You can see that same thing in the Andrew Body. You know what I mean? That, you know, he does what he does, you know, and, you know, because he represents the university, represents the conference well, he represents his family so well. And this is the thing, you know, Coach, we always want to show the negative, you know what I mean? Showing the kids at Georgia racing cars and wrecking cars and all that stuff. But over here in the SWAC, we know what we're supposed to be doing. That's why I'm proud of these young men, because when they play for us, they play for us. Absolutely. Now, Coach, you know, we got to keep this thing rolling. Now, Coach, you know, this show is actually to break down the SWAC championship game. Now, Coach, here's the thing about this now. You know, I love all my people that do the podcast out there. You know what I mean? We got real, you know, Scotty and Perry, some smart young brothers. You know what I'm saying? Got those guys over the HBCU Nightly, Josh and BJ, really smart. You got Wild Wayne. Man, you got all types of people out there that's going to talk about this game. But, Coach, I'm going to tell you what, though. They're not going to have no coach that's actually coaching this game. I'll tell you that. See, we're going to have some people that have actually coached in this game, knows what it is to win this game, because only on the HBCU Coaches Corner will you get the real behind the scenes on how to prepare, how a coach of the year can win it, how a back-to-back championship can win it. So, Coach, you know what? I'm going to bring our illustrious all-star roundtable. And, Coach, you know what? I'm going to start with somebody that's very close to you that you might know.
Yeah.
Look who we got here, Coach. Defensive coordinator from Clark University. I think that's your big brother, Coach L.C. Cole. That's your brother there, Coach.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Let me tell you something, and of course the other coaches coming on, all the coaches. We specifically brought in championship coaches, not no guys that think what the championship seemed like. And either they was they were championship coach and on the championship team. You know, we got another guest coming in, but this guy here,
you know, Eddie Robinson
Award winner, Tank Young Award winner, MVP of, Coach of the Year, OVC, first Black African American coach to win pre-WI, not one time, twice, went 21-1 in OVC, beat Pete Richardson, you name them. He beat them all. Florida A&M. I can't say enough about him, man. I can't say enough. But championship coach, he's been down this week, many times, man. And welcome, big bro. And I had to send a shout out to James Woody. He couldn't make it tonight, but he did call, man. He had a special thing that he had to make sure he take care of, and I wish him well, and hopefully everything is okay.
But, Coach, listen, this HBCU Coaches Corner, Coach. We got coaches all over the place. So, Coach, I'm gonna bring up the next coach, because this coach also knows about championships, played for championships and things like that. Actually knows a little bit about one of the schools that play. You know what, Coach? Listen, that's Coach Northern right there, Coach. That's Coach Northern right there, Coach.
Yeah. Hey, look, I coached him, Coach. Look, it was inedible. You talking about a cerebral player? And when me and Coach Richardson brought our staff in, man, this guy was a starter off the rip. He was a cerebral player. He knew what everybody. Hey, he could go on the offensive side of the ball and know that. He lived in Coach Yoshida's office, which was across from mine. It's no secret that he would be a coach, and not just a coach. He's a championship coach, a championship player. He played on the only HBCU team, and I don't know if you know that, they played on January 1st in Atlanta after the Peach Bowl. Southern University's own Heisman Northern.
And Coach, who did y'all happen to play in that game? Do you remember who y'all played?
South Carolina State. I want to say we shut them out 11-0
because they going back to Atlanta, so they kind of, so you guys kind of know what this looks like. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, before we get started, can I say a couple things? See, Coach, when he moved to Baton Rouge, I was one of the guys that helped him move into his apartment. I think it was me and Fred Bailey and one other wide receiver that helped him move to his apartment. Look, one thing I'm going to always tell this story. When we played, I was on the staff at Grambling. We played Alabama State in Montgomery. We turned the ball over on offense, and one of Alabama State offensive linemen asked our defensive end, say, "Hey, man, you on a field goal block or extra point?" And he said, "Why?" He said, "Because we about to score a touchdown." Coach, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you guys run a triple reverse for a touchdown?
Triple reverse.
Hey, man, we looking at it. We say, "Oh, reverse again." Touchdown. So that's my Johnnie Cole story right there. But look, I was blessed to be around some good coaches at an early age, and they just continue to trend, no, honestly.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. But, you know, like I say, listen now, Coach, I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes you got to have a guy recently that knows what it looks like to play in the championship, coaching the championship game. So I had to make another phone call. Coach, you know, you got your boy. I had to call my boy. So you know what? Listen, I'm going to bring to state. That's Coach Fred. Wait a minute. That's Coach Fred with the championship. Coach.
He got his ring. You're going to make me run to the room and get my ring.
Yeah, Coach.
Coach Leroy Frederick. Coach, all right, now, Coach, those are some rings. Coach, can you tell us what those rings are for, if you don't mind just letting us know real quick?
Yeah, this is my Michael Jordan pose, but you know, he got that pose with all his rings. But 14, 17, 18, and East ring. So had a chance, an opportunity, was blessed to play in 7 straight championship games to go to the conference championship. So 1-3, blessed to say that. And I was inspired when I seen Coach's background. I was like, let me run and go get these real quick.
Hey, listen. There is nobody. Listen, I'm just gonna say this, and it is an honor to have all you great men, great black men, great black coaches. Because I want to be clear here. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand how hard it is for you all to do what you do, but you make it real easy. But I'm gonna tell you this: it is an honor, because the one thing, and guys, you know, you're gonna see it all week. People just gonna have analysis, but coaches, you guys know there's a difference when you have coached in these games to break it down than somebody like me that just watch it and say, now I'm going to give my opinion, of course, but I'm going to let you all do the talking about this game. Now, here's the thing that I want to just kind of break down with the SWAC. The SWAC started the SWAC Championship game in 1999. And you know what? And that's what's so funny about that. In 1999, you guys know who played in that game. It was Jackson State and Southern, and it was one of the most tremendous games. Mm-hmm. Won on the last play. And to see now, basically, to come 25 years forward, to see how big this game is, and to move it to now, not your neutral field, but to a home field, I think that has made the game even bigger and better. And also, it raises the stakes, because as you see, especially, and I'll say it in the West, but in the East, if you lose one game, you out the race. So every game matters because of what it means to host that home game and what it does for your fans and things like that. So, you guys, I want to just kind of, and Coach, you know, I'll let you start it off of how you want to go, and then I'll kind of add into it. So we've got two great teams. We've got Prairie View A&M from the West, the West champions, versus the defending SWAC and defending national champions, the Jackson State Tigers. The game will be played in Jackson, Mississippi. Coach Cole, how do you want to start this conversation off? And we'll go around the horn.
I like to start just first of all saying that and these guys appreciate it, because Fred just finished, Heist finished maybe 5 years ago. I think this is the best matchup it's been in a long, long time, at least the last 5 years. You know, and usually the West gonna come out and roll over. The East gonna come out and roll over the West. You know, I think this is a great matchup. All the numbers are real close in that. And you two guys, Fred and of course Heist, you know, you guys played them in LC. First year, LC, you're going into your championship. Of course, you've been down this road again. What are you thinking as a head coach?
Well, I would just say, you kind of, you start all over. So you kind of forget about how you got there. Those wins are gone. And now you kind of like starting your season over almost for next year, getting yourself prepared. And, you spend a lot of time second guess yourself a little bit sometimes when you get ready to go into a championship game because you really don't know, what to expect. But what you try to do is put emphasis on your guys, man, that, hey, this is a whole new ball game. Now, we ain't thinking about the past and present. Now we got to think about what we're getting prepared for to get ready to go into this game.
Yeah. Heist, I'm going to give you a two-part question because you came through this game as a player and a coach. I'm going to take you back some years, man, as a player coming to this game after y'all won we won the championship. What was your mindset in coming to this game? Because, Southern, it was the first Southern has won in a long time. So you was a part of the Pete Richardson trend.
So the actual championship game started a couple years after I finished. We went to the Heritage Bowl back then is what they called it. So, but just from the player's perspective, I think the biggest thing is just realize like this may be the last time you ever put your pads on for some of those guys. If you're a senior, just the different things that go into it. Am I ready for all the the adjustments that may need to go on? Do I have all my checks down pat? All that type of stuff is my communication of the part. From a coaching standpoint, I remember going into it 3 times at Grambling, 1 time at Prairie View. You have your call sheet, but I think one of the things we wrote down way more adjustments on that call sheet than we would a normal game plan because you went into it with this is our strength, but I may save actual a diagram of a blitz that we may practice a little bit that we may have to go to. So we had more adjustments for this game than we would any other game for the season, I would say.
Yeah. Fred, you went into 2 games, 2 SWAC championships, you won them. What was the difference between the 2 SWAC championships y'all won and then also going into the national championship and unfortunately not coming out on the winning side? Was there a difference of preparation? Did you see the difference after you was able to observe both times that you won it and then go to the national championship and won and then finish it?
Well, I'll go on record and say the 3 that I won, we beat Southern all 3 times. The 2 that I lost, we lost to that bad man Grambling had playing quarterback, Kincaid. And, the first one going into that Southern game, we knew that we had to have our special teams. We felt like everything else was good. Special teams had to be the key because Southern had that bad man, Willie Quinn. And if he touched it anywhere on the field, he could go. So we were really, Coach Hobson put a lot of emphasis that week on special teams, the kicking game, making sure we knew where he was and, the whole 9. And then the other 2 versus Skelton, we wanted to make sure that we didn't let him get cooking because those Southern teams went as he went. So, we didn't want to do too much, but, they all had it. It's hard to beat a team twice. And we played them regular season, and then here we go in the championship game. And I'll add for context, we were the first ones to have the championship game on campus because that year UAB had a phenomenal season and we couldn't have it there, whatnot. And so we had the better record, so we were able to host it on campus, which added a whole nother layer because now people are showing up on campus on Wednesday, and you got to make sure you keep your kids focused. So that was our, the focus on all those games. And then the 2 we lost versus Grambling, let's try to corral Kincaid, and then we'll go from there. And then when we got to the national championship game, was keeping those guys hungry because we were really invested in those games versus Southern. And when you get there, it's a sense of relief, but we got 1 more to go, guys, and we just couldn't finish the deal versus those really good A&T teams.
Yeah. One thing, with T.C. Taylor and Tremaine coming in this game. And LC, you can answer this first question with Tremaine being a new coach, and that's one of the things that you do. You turn programs around. What are some of the things that you think that he did, and what are the things you think that's going through his head? Because you've done the same thing.
Well, I think he's done a good job of coming through a coaching, and then, like you say, through his predecessors, the guys who he had worked before. I think he's done a good job of listening to them and kind of like staying with the game plan a little bit there. And I kind of watched him in Valdosta, watched a film of Valdosta because we played Valdosta this year. And I seen how sound his team was defensively. They didn't make a lot of mistakes and everything. They kind of played in the frame of what they all was about, offense and defense. And I think the only reason I would be favoring Prairie View probably this game a little bit here, because sometimes when you've been there before and you don't want a little bit before, and then you're kind of looking at Prairie View a little bit different, I think that kind of like, to me, is probably giving Prairie View the edge a little bit there. I just think they might be a little bit more hungry than Jackson State.
Heist, being a player in the SWAC, baby, playing Jackson State. Prairie View is coming up there, man. They went up there the last time, man, and peed all on the field, man. That sonic boom coming out. Y'all was there. You were there as a player and as a coach, man. How much do you think the mystique of playing in Memorial Stadium against the sonic boom and T.C. Taylor?
Hey, man, I have some great memories, and I always tell people I would rank a great Jackson State crowd versus any environment, probably except the Bayou Classic, in terms of noise because of the dome. But I remember my sophomore year, my senior year, we played in Jackson, and we were very good both times. I remember the game where when every group, the running backs, D-line, O-line came out, it was like each side tried to out-cheer each other. I also remember my senior year, we play in Jackson, and it's a very tight game, and it's like they played the show the whole fourth quarter. It would get low, and then it'll crank back up. I'm getting chill bumps talking about it right now, but it would get low and crank back up. I was also at the game where the fifth quarter went. We dressed and showered on the bus, and both teams still going at it. So, look, my son is a freshman at Prairie View. I paid for that joker to ride the bus to experience this game. But it's going to be a great environment. You can't beat it. It's second to none. I'll put it to you like that.
Yeah. Fred, the Soul Bowl, baby. The Soul Bowl. You know what to expect. Can Prairie View, new coach, new players, new fans, are they ready for that Jackson State sonic boom and that 40,000 gonna show up? And will it be a problem in the game?
I think early on, I've watched Coach Jackson throughout the year. I think he'll have that as the message. But until those guys run out there and everybody goes crazy at the start of the game, it's really going to be, can he get those guys to settle in and not have all that extra stuff, not giving up stuff cheap as far as, penalties and things like that. It's tough. Our last game there, big rival, we were all over the place. And then once we finally settled down, we were able to make it a game. But in the beginning, we had a little rough time getting our kids to settle down, get away from a read, just play football. A lot of little cheap fouls here and there. And once we settled down, it was a game. So he's got to be able to get his guys settled in quickly. Yeah. Because, again, I don't know what the numbers are exactly. They say sometimes they have 40,000 in there. Sometimes they say they have 50,000 in there. I don't know. But the ones they have in there, going to go crazy, and that's going to start from pregame when the band marches in and those pom-poms get to shaking. Hopefully their fan base holds down the other side of the stadium as well.
But if not, you don't want that takeover to happen. That can't happen. So he's got to get his kids settled in quick.
Yeah.
Coach, let me jump in here real quick. Let me jump in because I want to make sure we keep things balanced. Coach Fred, I want to ask you, you've seen, because we're going to swing this back around. We kind of talked a little bit about the environment, but I want to talk about the actual teams and things like that. So, Coach Fred, I'm going to start with you, and then Coach Northern, I'll come to you. Coach Fred, tell people what, watching this game, the Jackson State Tigers, players that they should know about. Tell them about what you think about with Terenzo Quinn and his defense, what TC Taylor offense are going to do against Prairie View, and some of the players that we need to watch that you feel for Jackson State to be successful for them to win.
Player of the year, defensive player of the year. Prairie View's got to know where he is. They've got to be able to contain him and not let him get off. And then they got that bad man in the middle.
Player of the year. Just want to get that name, Quincy Ivory. Okay.
Right. I don't want tampering to go on.
No problem. I'll do that. Y'all do that for you. No problem. Absolutely.
So I just go numbers, but zero in the middle. He's tough to move, and they have a way of taking over the game. And one thing I say about my friend Quinn is, you can believe he's in there right now looking for something that he can find that is going to give him a tip one way or another, and he's going to attack. Quinn ain't the one to sit back and just kind of like let the game come to him. No, he's going to take the game to you. And, the big thing for, PV, I think, is controlling that box. If they can control that box, that puts pressure on what I think is the weakest part of Jackson's defense, which is the secondary.
Now, Coach Northern, listen, you do a great show every Sunday out there with my nephew, P. There. A lot of people don't know about Prairie View. You know what I mean? This is one of those teams that, again, out there in Texas, and people, we kind of hear that they're good and things like that, and we don't see them play a lot. You know what I mean? A lot of people, of course, everybody's going to watch Jackson State. They're going to watch Southern. People are excited about Andrew Bott. But this was a team, when you started to watch them, that you knew was a lot of talent. Kind of tell the people that are new to the Prairie View, this edition of Prairie View Panthers, who we need to be looking for and what you've seen from the defensive coach and Tremaine Jackson on the offensive side.
Well, I'll go the front. A lot of people think because they have a three-man front, the ball can be ran on them easy. But when you have big 99 Elijah Warren sitting in the middle, both A-gaps are basically null and void sometimes. Then the way they play the defensive tackles in those fours, you think you can get a B-gap run off, but they may be leaning B-gap, and if you try something funny, they trigger real fast off the edge. They outside linebackers, once they see run, they hitting it thick, keeping everything inside, or if coach want them to spill, they spill very well. And you don't know which one of those three safeties are coming down the way they play their defense. So I really like the way they play. The middle linebacker, I think, is a very smart player. You can tell he's in tune with what's going on, but they play very fast. And the first time I saw him in the spring, this defense will remind people when Grambling was winning those championships, I said it before, it's almost the same defense, and it's going to give you problems. It's almost like playing an option on offense because you don't see it very often. You can't use 4-2-5 rules. You can't use 3-4 rules to block it. You have to come up with something different to block those guys. And that's something I think that is surprising because it's different how fast those guys play.
Yeah.
Coach, look, one of the things that you talked about that, and I like what you said, we've seen Jackson State, that big, dominant offensive line, that rushing attack, 3 running backs in the game running for 100 yards. Where do you see that matchup of Jackson State's huge, and I'm talking about several players on all-conference team, on the all-conference team, versus Prairie View, who I know they're very upset, didn't have a lot of players, but still had the number 1 ranked defense. How do you see that matchup, Jackson State's offensive line versus Prairie View's defensive line? You talked about the scheme, but individual matchup.
So this one of the things, you can get caught up in the all-conference teams, but this one thing, so I'm going to say when I was playing, we might play, when we were real good on defense, we might play 30 to 35 plays a game, where the guys at Valley might be playing 80 plays. So they linebacker finishing with 15 tackles a game, where our starting Mike linebacker or me playing safety, I might finish the game with 6 tackles. So the numbers can get distorted, and you may think one guy is better than another because of how many tackles a guy made. But I tell you what, and I think it's going to – both teams run game wise, are going to have to find a way to exploit the box, whether it's a double eagle, the double eagle that Jackson State likes to run, or when Prairie View wants to bring one guy off the edge or bring one of those safeties down in the box. You got to be able to exploit it in the run game. And when pressure comes, I think that's going to be the key. Who can spring one versus pressure? And then what screen may pop, a quick pass may pop, a throw 2 yards or at the line of scrimmage may turn into a touchdown. I think that's going to be the key.
Yeah. Hey, one of the things I'm going to add in there is always just look at Prairie View a little bit too, because I know Jermaine's a new coach, but you got to remember he brought 19 to 20 guys from Valdosta that played in the national championship game. So you're bringing the team in. You might think they're unexperienced, but they've been there before and they know what it takes to win. So that's why it's going to be a good game. Jackson State got great players. Don't be fooled. They got some great players too. They just nobody's really talking about it. They brought in 19 to 20 transfers from Valdosta.
I was going to ask you, LC, because you did go back-to-back championships in your years. How much does an inexperienced PV versus a defending champ, Jackson State, in your experience and in watching these two teams, how much does that play a role of giving Jackson State the defending championships? Or what was once you did it back to back, what did you see in your team and playing a team that just getting there? Was it a difference, or it was just as hard as winning the first one?
I think it was hard winning the first one. The second one kind of comes easy. I mean, that's what it was for us at Tennessee State, because we had to build and put it together and put great players to play. And they was learning how to play. And then once we got into that point, kids get confidence. And then we came back the next year and we started winning. It was almost kind of like we almost didn't really have to coach because the kids started coaching themselves and they know what the expectation was for us to go back again. And that's what they did. I mean, they executed. They did the right things. You go places, you didn't get any phone calls that your kid in trouble doing something. They were doing everything perfect. Sometimes that's scary when you see a team that's moving like that and you're a coach and you like, man, I ain't got to punish nobody, or everybody's on the bus on time, or everything's just going right. And you have to be saying, man, something just ain't right. But that's just what it was. Second year when we went 11-0.
Y'all back-to-back champs at Alcorn State. Tell the experience and then kind of make it as if, what's going on with, the game we got coming this weekend.
Well, I think and I'll go from Jackson State side, I think Coach Taylor is fighting the we just got to show up bug with his team. Like, they've got to understand that this is the number one defense and they are the number three offense. So this is a good team coming in here. We can't just show up. And then, from the other side, from the coach of the year standpoint, he's got to guard against his kids coming in and something going wrong early and being like, okay, this is why these guys are number one, and kind of just letting them letting them fall off in a funk. This is a perfect storm when you pull up the numbers. And I know numbers don't make the game. You got to play. But I don't know if we've ever had a game where you have the number 2 offense and the number 3 offense, and then you have the number 1 defense and the number 2 defense. Something's got to give, right? And, I think we talked about it on the last show. Jackson has a couple kids that can take that thing 80 yards. Yeah. And that's the one thing that cannot happen early for PV. So for us going into that, you want to guard against. So we knew Kincaid when we played Grambling. We knew he was the guy. They had 2 receivers off that team that got drafted as well. But we knew that he ran around and he made plays. We knew that. So we tried to put the brakes on him. Southern going back to back versus those guys. We knew Skelton was the driver. If we could contain him and put him in a situation to do something that he didn't want to do, which was kind of throw the ball, make them get in third and long behind the chains, would be okay. But that second one, we had to make sure that our kids understood that they're not coming here just to play. They're coming here to win. They're coming here to win. They're coming here to beat you. So we got to have a laser focus. And, so going back to back, unlike Big Brother Cole, for me, I feel like that second one was tougher than that first one. Only because at this point now we're feeling ourselves and we're playing a team we beat in the year. We beat them last year. We got a 4-game win streak. We got to have a problem where we can kind of bring them back to earth. And like Coach said, unfortunately, we didn't have those issues that week. Somebody missing curfew and all that, where Coach Matt could go crazy and put them on the line and bring everybody back to, earth. It was one of those things where, okay, they're focused. This is uneasy. Our kids aren't those type of kids. But, that second one for us, I felt was a lot tougher than that first one when you talk about going back to back.
Heist, defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at both defenses, both of them are great. Where do you think Prairie View is strong at or weak, and weak, because both of them got spots, and the same thing on the Jackson State side?
I think the strengths of both of them, they can definitely shut down a running game in a variety of different ways. Both of them can play base and stop you. Both of them can bring pressure. Like Coach said earlier, I do think Jackson's safeties may give up big plays here and there in the passing game. Every now and then, a corner from Prairie View may give up a big play when they get locked up, but you don't see that very often. But I think that's going to be something that can be exploited by both of them. But both of them going to be able to stop the run. Both of them can bring a variety of different pressures. I think Prairie View's pressures are a little bit harder to pick up because it's so different. Jackson, sometimes when you see him, it almost look like old school Jackson, Bear, we come and get you. You better get rid of the ball before we get to your quarterback. One of those type of deals. So it's some pluses. Both of them are real good. But like I say, it can be some exploitation at a couple spots on both teams.
What makes this a great, great game is T.C. Taylor, offensive guy, Coach Jackson, a defensive guy. On the show, we got 3 defensive guys with a little bit of offense with Coach Fred. Started LC winning the championship game. You're speaking to Jackson State and Prairie View. What are some of the things that you think should stand out or is important in a championship game?
I don't know. I'll just say one thing. I'm going to go with Coach Fred. When you talk about fan base, Jackson State is the best by none. Not taking anything away from Southern, but that Jackson State and that Sonic Boom and them fans, man, that's going to be one of the edges too. I think that's a difference maker right there.
Yeah. Heist, what you think?
Look, man, like I said, I love the environment. Looking forward to it. I think the subtleness that might cause some problems, or the biggest thing to look out for, is going back to the third down percentage for both teams and the completion percentage.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.